everybody, I'm Ione Butler and I'm the founder of Uplifting Content, and today I am so excited to be talking to Orly Wahba, the founder of Life Vest Inside. You're just wonderful, so thank you for being on the call. And I got a book which we're going to talk about. I got her book today.
I'm so happy.
First of all, we'd love for you just to fill everybody in about what you do and Life Vest Inside and what that is for people who might not know.
100%. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be here and to chat with you. And I really applaud all the amazing work that you do, because uplifting people through content and through sharing is so important. I think everyone right now in this world is needing to find that sense of positivity within themselves, within the world. So I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you. My pleasure.
To give you a bit about my background about myself, I started Life Vest Inside 6 years ago. I was actually a middle school teacher for 7 amazing years. Loved my years teaching, absolutely the most transformative years of my life. And during those years of teaching, really the concepts of kindness, compassion, empathy, these were things I was implementing into my classroom on a daily basis. And I saw the impact that it had on the students. And more than, and so Life Vest Inside sort of became just another step, another piece of my puzzle. And I left my job teaching 6 years ago to start this. The mission of the organization is to inspire, empower, and to educate people of all different backgrounds to lead a life of kindness. But if I were to really use one word to sum up the entirety of this organization, the essence, more than the word kindness, is the word empowerment. It's about empowering people to recognize their value, that they matter, that they're significant, and that even though they might be just 1 in 7 billion people, the number that matters the most is that they're one. Each and every person has something unique that they can contribute into this world that nobody else can. It's a really powerful concept. And kindness is the greatest tool to empower someone to recognize their own value. Because if you think about it, Ione, if you think about an act of kindness that you've engaged in, right? How do you feel after you do that?
Amazing.
You feel awesome. But why do you feel so awesome?
Because we're designed to be good and kind to each other.
That's 100% true. I believe that our core of cores is to be good. Not only is there scientific evidence to the reason why kindness makes us feel so good, that it increases endorphins, that it lowers our stress levels, but in that moment of giving, and you make somebody else smile, in that moment, what you're doing is you're catching a glimpse of your potential. And you're being validated for the right reasons. Not what society tells us should validate us. It doesn't matter how famous you are, how wealthy you are, how many followers you have, what your job status is, what color your skin is. It doesn't matter. The concept idea is that each and every person, like I said, is unique in their own significant way, And with the thing that really separates us is the fact that we touch the lives of so many people. That's what really matters. And so in that moment of giving, we're catching a glimpse of that potential. We're like, wow, I feel so good. I just made that person smile just by being me. You don't have to be anybody else. You just need to be you. And that sort of sums up the philosophy of the organization. It's not about fighting against the negativity that's happening in the world, because if you think about it, there's so many initiatives out there with the anti-approach. Everyone's ready to hold up a anti this, anti that. But it's not about anti, because if you're going to fight against negativity with something negative, if you're going to fight against bullying with anti-bullying, if you're going to fight against war with anti-war, or drugs with anti-drugs, you're actually only bringing in that negativity into your reality. The question is, well, why does that issue actually exist? Why does it come into fruition to begin with? And when we take the moment, instead of wanting to put just a Band-Aid on a problem, which we're so accustomed to doing, to understand where is the cause of that problem, we have the ability to truly change things in a tremendous way. And what we find is that it stems from a lack of self-value and self-worth. People not actually understanding that they do matter. Just like you said earlier, you're doing awesome things. I got to tell you, we're all doing awesome things. Everyone, if you're here, if you're listening to this, if you have air in your lungs right now, you take a deep breath, that means that there's something that you could bring into this world that I'll never be able to bring into it, because that's why you're here.
Yeah.
And that's the concept. And the way that we do everything that we do is whether it be through inspirational media or through events or through educational curriculum or through technology, utilizing all of these means to bring that message to the world in a very powerful scale, but understanding that it's something that we all know. I'm not telling people something new, you know, it's something that we already know in our hearts to be true.
Yeah. Oh, you got me all feeling fuzzy and warm inside. I love it. There's so many things that I want to talk about from this point going forward, but we'll get some more details about you and everything that you're doing. But touching on what you said about the empowering thing, that is definitely something that is my mission with uplifting content as well, because I find that there's so often, I stopped watching the news a long time ago because all it does is sort of churn out all these horrible things, and it's like, that's how crap everything is. Good luck. You know, that's the world. And then like a lot of documentaries, it's all the problems. And there's never any solution, and there's never any. So if you don't like that, this is what you can do. Here are organizations that are trying to help. Here's how you can get involved. There's never so it just makes people feel helpless. And so part of uplifting content, what we're doing, I'm having issues with all different parts of different things right now, so it's not kind of fully working, but the idea is uplifting causes where people promote their causes and we encourage other people to get involved and help, and not just monetarily. It's offering your advice, giving your time, donating clothes, whatever it is that you have, because we can make a difference. And I wholeheartedly am there with everything you said there. And just a couple of weeks ago, I was at a Donny Epstein conference. Have you heard of him before?
I've not.
He is like a wizard man. You have to. We've done a live stream with him. He was part of our Uplifting Content Summit. I was at his event a couple of weeks ago in Denver. He basically does this energy healing stuff where he works on you and like your body. People fly around the room, and I'm not exaggerating. I saw it with my own eyes and have videos of it. He's moving energy in my body, and my body was kind of going crazy. He's an energy healing master wizard, but the core of what he talks about is that like our purpose is to be of service and to help each other. And we feel good. There's all the chemicals in our body that are activated when we are doing things for other people. And so that's the core of everything that he's doing. He's like, you need to be the best version of yourself because you have a gift. Pretty much exactly what you just said, word for word. You have a gift, and you need to be the best version of yourself to raise consciousness for humanity, to do your bit, to help people. And it's just like messages that I'm getting from everywhere right now, and it's so true.
It's so true because you see, when everyone is living their actual purpose, we have the capability to actually resolve all of the issues going on in the world. You see, you know, we're all one big puzzle. And if one piece is missing, the puzzle is just not complete. You may not understand how one piece connects to the other because they may be on two opposite sides of the puzzle, but every single piece connects, and every single piece lends itself to the overall beauty of the full picture. If we come to understand how we are all interconnected, and it's energy, very, very much so. We are all interconnected. What we do here, what I do here today, my actions will affect others. I may not see it. We don't see it necessarily. We are powerful beings. And the more we could become conscious of that, the more likely we are to make the right choices and the right decisions that will affect, you know, the lives of others that are around us, because we are, you know, like attracts like. And just like you were saying, right, with the news, I hate watching the news. Why? Because what happens is that when a person starts off seeing negativity, you're training your eye. And I always talk about the eye muscle. Is a kindness muscle. This is our biggest kindness muscle, our eye, okay? It takes a lot of work. Just like if you're training to get in shape, you know, it's hard in the beginning, it hurts, but you have to keep on practicing. Mm-hmm. Well, if your eye is going to be, you know, seeing negativity, if it's trained to see negativity, and you just watch all these terrible things happening, you go out into the world, and the way that you're going to engage with people's negativity, oh, you see that guy cut me off, you see this is what people do, you see people cheat you all the time, and this one always does it. And you're so much more trained, you're drawing to yourself those negative experiences. You're actually drawing them to you because it's proving your own consciousness. Your consciousness is saying things are negative and you can't get out of it. So you're actually drawing in that energy to prove to you what you're believing. Break free from that. And as opposed to that, start looking for the good. I promise it's the best. It's like the most awesome exercise, because the minute you start looking for good, you start becoming aware of so much more good. And think about it, like, for example, if there's a song that somebody just introduced you to and you loved it, like, wow, I never heard that song before. All of a sudden, everywhere you seem to go, on every radio station or in every store you walk into, that song is playing. Well, it was playing the whole time, but you're now drawing it actually into you. That's how powerful we really are. So the more we look for good, the more good opportunities are able to be reflected back at us so that we can take advantage of those moments. That's what it's really all about.
Agreed. I was reading that in, I can't remember what book it was, but it's an exercise where if you're driving, or if you're walking around, or if you're somewhere, look for all the red things in the room or that you can see. And you'll notice that you start to find all these red things. And so it's the same with opportunities. It's the same with just, good. I try not to use the terms good or bad, but like that's kind of how we're describing it. But yeah, you will find those things if that's what you're looking for. And if you're looking for the suffering and the evil and the cruelty and all that stuff, you'll find all of that. So yeah.
It's funny. I tell a story. I'm going to see if I have one of these here to show you, but I may or may not. So we have what are called acts of kindness cards. And
oh, I love that.
I don't know if I sent you one in the book, but if not, I got to send you.
Wait, did I?
Did I send you? Oh yeah, there you go. You got one.
I got one. Make a point to arrive on time today. Show others that you value their time by being punctual. I love that.
So I got to tell you now, these cards, like the book, the book has different acts, but each one has a different act of kindness on the card, and you do the act and you pass it on.
Yeah.
And every time I give these cards out, I always get the funniest stories back. People come to me, how did you know to give me this card? Oh my God, if you gave me this card, you're not going to know what happened. I always tell this story. I was in a class and I was giving out the cards, and then the next day, one of the students comes up to me and like, Orly, you're not going to believe what happened. What happened? He said, after you gave me the card you gave me said, hold the door open for someone. And after I left, everywhere I looked, there was a door that needed to be opened. There was a door. I started laughing. I'm like, those doors were there yesterday and the day before. I'm noticing them now, because that's what awareness is. When somebody shows us something, like, right, yours was about being punctual. Now, in your subconscious today, with whatever other things you're going to do, that is going to come into your mind, just that thought, because the awareness was actually brought into play. Because we're all good. We know what good is. But we can lose sight of the simple things. We can lose sight of the simple things that really make life worth living. The small acts of kindness that we can do for one another. Not these big gestures, but just in the way that we're actually interacting in our everyday occurrences, every moment, So.
I totally agree. So you've got the cards. Actually, I've got multiple questions to ask you about, all three in my head at the same time. So I literally got this about 2 hours ago, so that was exciting. And I got as far as the little bit at the beginning. It's a memory of your grandpa, who was your captain. I'd love just to, you just share a bit about, you kind of said about how you started everything, but he's obviously your big part of your inspiration, and just, a bit more about that would be great to know.
He really is. It's funny when you say my captain. So there's a quick story I'll tell you behind that. My grandfather passed away a couple years ago, and he was really the captain of the ship. We're 14 grandchildren, and my grandparents, they have this picture in their house, okay? And it's a picture of it's a cartoon picture of Noah's Ark. And every time another kid was born, because they have 3 daughters, they would put one picture of each child in the different windows, Mm-hmm. So we always called it like that was our ship, and he was the captain of the ship. He was a man that lived kindness through and through. And it wasn't about getting his name on a building or being this famous guy. It was about the secret acts of kindness that he did. He was the most generous and kind-hearted man, and he lived it. He lived it in every aspect of his life. And when he passed away, him and we had a really great relationship. And I said I wanted to write this book in his memory. I never had written a book before, and it was definitely not an easy experience. It was a pretty awesome experience, but it was not easy. And I had a picture of him right on my desk that I would look at every single day, and I would look and say, this is for you, Gramps, this is for you. And I knew that it was being written with a purpose to honor his memory, and that all the acts of kindness that come about from that book, that will be in his merit. But, you know, there's a story that came out after he had passed away. While I was teaching, I went on this trip. It was called, in Hebrew, it's called the Chesed mission, which means a kindness mission. We went to Israel to basically volunteer for 7 days straight. I'm talking about from morning to night, with all different nonprofit organizations doing like hands-on charity work. And I met this family there, had a tremendous amount of children. They lived in like a 2x2 apartment, had nothing, but the warmth in that family was amazing. And I really connected with the family very much. And after that, I continued to stay close to them, and I would send them money every holiday and stuff. And one day I was in my grandfather's apartment, and I get a phone call, and I pick it up, and I'm talking to the person, you know, and I'm speaking to the person in Hebrew. So I get off the phone. He's like, "Who are you talking to?" I said, "Oh, it was this woman. She has all these kids, and they don't have any money, and it's." He said, "Do me a favor, write me her address down." I said, "Okay." Well, I found that after he had passed away, the woman called me. She said, "You should know that every single holiday, your grandfather sent me money so that me and my children and my family would be able to eat." And he never said it to anybody. It was never about being big or showing off or anything. It was his simple ways about him that made him very special. And so he was the captain, you know, that help you stay on course and remember who you are. Because in this world, as we travel from one place to the next in our different goals that we have, sometimes we can get lost. Sometimes we can lose sight of what's important. But the captain of the ship always keeps you on course, helping you to remember who you are on the inside, to never forget it. Because it's easy. People out there are going to try and tell you that what's right is wrong, what's wrong is right. And for me, that's exactly what my grandfather was.
You're so lucky to have such a beautiful soul in your life. Like, I just wish I could know him and give him a cuddle. Like, what a lovely man. Just even hearing that story is really powerful. And it's true. I feel like it's important to share and show acts of kindness, because I think when you hear of other people doing things, it encourages you to. Most of the time, everybody's showing off their money or their partners or their holidays, and it's showing off things that are just shallow and not helpful. So I think it is good and important to do that. But but then it becomes people doing charity and doing these acts of kindness because of they wanting that validation. And so it's a fine line, but I love.
Fine line. It's definitely a fine line. And you have to, you know, there's two types of giving. And I always say this, and people could get confused. There's giving from strength, and there's giving from weakness. You see, but now giving from strength comes from an abundance, a feeling of abundance. And you'll never resent that giving. But giving from weakness feels like sacrifice. And if you're just doing something, either to just be on the spotlight, or you're doing it, or you're giving from this area of like, oh, you just want to impress that person, eventually you'll come to resent that same giving. So you have to be very careful in the type of giving. And the truth of the matter is, only a person knows their own intentions. I remember I don't remember which specific day in the book I speak about this, but you know, only a person knows their own heart. We have to be truthful with ourselves of where is that necessarily coming from, and why is it that we're looking to do that, you know? Because if you're just doing that kindness to show off, or then you're not actually feeding that inner self, because that inner self is not a self of ego. It's not. It's coming from a very different place. It already is confident and secure in who that person is. When you're secure in who you are, then regardless if you made a donation of thousands of dollars, or you know, donated all your time to somewhere, or you just did something small, you feel secure in who you are. You don't necessarily need that. You're doing it because that's your essence, but it's about helping people find that security in who they are. I know I am, and I'm okay with who I am, flaws and all. We all have flaws. We all have insecurities. Everybody. And anybody that tells you otherwise is just lying.
Yeah.
It's not true.
So I'm going to talk about this book now because it's absolutely beautiful. And so every day there is an act of kindness, a quote, and a reflection. And so I want to find the one for today, for September 12th, because it's such a beautiful idea. And I can't wait to have this, like, my little sort of daily thing. Such a great idea for a book, by the way, like, so beautiful.
Thank you so much.
So this one is, the act is kindly asked to borrow something that may be in your house but doesn't necessarily belong to you. Kindly asked to borrow something that may be in your house. Some say asking for forgiveness is better than asking for permission, but the way I see it, it's all about the way that you ask. What does that mean? Kindly asked to borrow something that may be in your house but doesn't necessarily belong to you.
So
Give
for example, like let's say, it's your, and I think I share a story about my sister there. If something really belongs to someone else in your house, maybe it's your sister's sweater or her new jacket that she really loves, even though, yes, your family, just have the kindness to just ask for permission. Is it okay if I use this? Or let's say somebody's computer, like your laptop. Some people, like my laptop, everything is on my laptop. All right, so yeah, maybe it's not a big deal to just take your sibling's laptop or whatever, but just the small action of saying, hey, I know this is yours, but do you mind if I borrow this for just a few minutes? That is showing caring, and it's showing sensitivity and showing, I acknowledge that this is yours, but I'm asking you if I can actually use it. Even if they were going to give it to you to begin with, like if there wouldn't have been a problem, just the simple action of asking shows that you have value for the person and you have value for what belongs to them.
I was getting confused, but I love that. I think that's an important message. And I was getting confused thinking it was about giving things back. And that's something that I feel really strongly about. If I borrowed something, to always make sure that I get it back to him. And it's not people, I don't want people having to ask. If I borrow something, it's my job to make sure you get it back. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the acts in that book too. We have 100% returning things that you borrow is definitely an important thing.
So you said that it was a bit difficult when you were writing it. Like how was the process? Did you research? Did you just have like 365 acts of kindness just floating around in your head? Like,
oh boy, I have like over 10,000 acts of kindness.
What?
Oh yeah, no, much more than that actually. So I'll tell you, since I started the organization, and when I started it, it started just with the short film Kindness Boomerang that had gone viral. I didn't even
That's an amazing video, by the way. Can we share that on the page?
Oh,
We'd love to share that. Yeah, perfect.
For sure.
Yeah.
And, I didn't even have a website. I decided to then start like a Facebook page, and I don't know, I wasn't even understanding what was going on as the video was going viral. And so I started wanting to put out content because, again, it's about inspiring people. So every day I started doing an act of kindness of the day. And now we also do a positive affirmation of the day every day on our Facebook page. And we also send out a daily email called the Daily Kind. So I have literally thousands of acts of kindness that have been written over the years. Every day I was creating a new one, thousands of them. And so when I sat down, when the opportunity came to write this book, I said, it would be great. It's a practical guide for people. Not that they don't know that that's kindness, but again, it's about the awareness, because when a person is reading something, now they're aware of it, they're more likely to take action on that specific thing. So the first step was really coming up with the categories, because initially the book was going to be broken into 12 chapters initially. And each chapter was going to be a category of kindness, kindness in the home, or kindness with yourself, or in the community with strangers. And then I was going to have, 30 or 31 acts pertaining to that category. So the first step I did was figure out what those 12 categories are going to be. I had way more than 12. And so I just broke it down to which ones I felt like would be the most important. Once I selected those 12 categories, I then came up with acts of kindness, going through the vast list that I've already had created, and just additional ideas that I felt would be most pertinent to majority of people, since it's a general book for everyone, and coming up with, 30 or 31 within each of those. It was only after that we decided, with the publisher, that I was going to do it where it was going to rotate. So every day, like January 1st starts with kindness with yourself for a reason. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of reason behind why I choose certain acts for certain days. Most people won't necessarily find out what that is, but there's a lot of reason behind it. So, now basically each day has a different category. So it's 12, and then it starts again 12, and so on and so forth. So every day, the act, the quote, and the reflection pertains to that specific, category of kindness. And so it's one for each and every day of the year. And being able to look at kindness through different lenses. And the reason I started with kindness with yourself is because for me, that's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
And I think for most people that are givers, it's the hardest thing. Being kind to yourself. It's something that I definitely struggle with, and I work on myself all the time, but it's very important, if we're not kind to us, it's very hard to then be kind to others. If we truly love ourselves, loving others is going to be very easy. But it's sometimes difficult to give to ourselves because giving to others does feel so good. But we need to also make that time to take care of ourselves and our body. But that's, you know, that's generally how it came about. And when I wrote it, I remember I never had written a book before, so I didn't know what the process was going to be like. And I'm running the organization full time. And I was like, all right, I'll take a month off and I'll write this book. And, you know, I don't know what I was talking about. And so I started, and again, it started with just the acts and the categories. And then I had to get back to getting work done. You know, it was so much things happening with the organization. When I finally sat down to do the big bulk of writing, I really had to get myself into a zone. And there was 1 month specifically, you know, this was January 2 years ago. I sat down and I just closed myself off really. It was really an amazing experience in that regard. I had morning blocks, afternoon blocks, evening blocks, and I was just getting myself in just a completely inspired state throughout the entire time. And I had one of our kindness ambassadors to the organization. I would meet with him daily for 1 hour because he was my accountability partner. Because I knew that I had to get it done for him, you know. And it was really an amazing experience because it gave me a chance to also reflect a lot on my own life and a lot on my childhood. I actually wrote a lot that I didn't include in the book. There was a lot because I started writing with the book, I was writing more of like a memoir, really. And so I tapped back into a lot of memories that I guess I had forgotten about or I put aside. So it was a very healing process itself, writing the book.
Oh, I can't wait to get through more of it. It's such a fantastic idea. And getting in the zone of creativity is an interesting point and something that I think I need to dedicate some time to because there's so much stuff going on that it's just hard to create, and I keep wanting to and do stuff, and then there's 1,001 other things to do. So I think it is important to find that time to
and everybody's process is going to be different. So it's not like, oh, you have to do it this way. And some people will tell you, oh, this is the way to do it. It took me time until I figured out what kind of mindset I needed to be in. You know, I thought, oh, maybe I could just section off a little time each day to do it. But that way didn't work. I needed to be completely engrossed in it. But doing that is hard because with life, there's so much going on at the same time. And being able to prioritize and juggle is not always easy. But everyone finds their own path. So it might be taking bits and pieces from other people's experience, doing whatever passion project it might be that they're working on, you know. But yeah, it is a process. Yeah.
So you've also got the cards. Do they come as like a pack that somebody can buy? How does that work with them?
So with the cards, we have we have 3 different types of cards. We have the regular general deck, which is like the cards that you have, and they come with 26 different acts of kindness.
Okay.
People can purchase them. They're $10 on our shop, on our website, lifeestinside.com. And then we also have kids decks. We have a deck that has acts of kindness specifically pertaining to kids. And they're also on the website. There are 26 cards in a pack. And then we also do customized decks, whether it be for companies or for schools, where we co-brand it with their logo. And we create acts that pertain to that specific setting or that specific company setting where, you know, certain acts that might be going on in that environment. The other type of deck that we have, which is really cool, I don't know if I sent you one of these cards, but if not, I have to make sure I do. It's called a Catching Kindness card. Oh, that's a sticker, but wait, I have it. It's over here. Let me just see. I have them right over here, actually.
I've got a bookmark.
Oh,
yeah,
you
look at it. These are all the goodies that I got. I got a lovely book with a nice little note in it. One of the kindness. Oh, you're so quick. I was trying to like distract you.
These are the Catching Kindness cards. So they're 25 cards in the deck, and each of them, they have the same thing on the back of it. The idea is that this is how you work out your eye muscle, like we were talking about, right? So how do you work out your eye muscle? Well, when you start seeing good. The concept of these cards is that when you see somebody doing something good for somebody else, not for you, it's easy to see somebody do something nice for you. But if you see somebody doing something nice for someone else, you give them a card. And on the back of it, it says, tag, you're it. You've just been caught in the act. Now it's your turn to catch someone else in the act. of kindness.
Mm.
So the idea is it's doing two things. For the person giving it, it's increasing your awareness to what kindness looks like.
Mm.
And for the person receiving it, I always love giving these because the person's expression is like, I don't know, why are you giving this? Because they didn't do anything for you. But then they look at it and you see them smile and they get so happy. For the person receiving it, it basically encourages that same positive behavior. Like, oh my God, someone was watching me do something nice. I guess what I do really does matter. I guess my actions do influence for the good or maybe not for the good. Therefore, a person's decision is going to be, they're going to make more likely to make better decisions because they're recognizing that their actions inspire and create a ripple.
Yeah.
With other people around them. So that's the concept of the catching kindness cards. It's about getting out there and catching kindness, not only for that person, but for yourself as well, to start seeing all the good that's happening.
I love it. They're fantastic. And so when we first started talking, you were saying about events. You have events. What are they about?
Oh my goodness. Okay, we have so many events. So we have a huge event coming up right now.
Ooh.
We have two big events actually.
Tell me.
It's called Dance for Kindness. Are you into like dance?
Sure, like just throw myself around, yeah.
I'm not the worst dancer in the world. People are like, you started an event about dance. You must be the best dancer. I'm like, you guys don't want to see me dance. I promise you. I promise you. So it's called Dance for Kindness. It's a worldwide flash mob. Do you know what a flash mob is?
Yeah, just like everybody shows up at a train station and starts rocking out.
Yeah, people just break out into dance all of a sudden out of nowhere. So World Kindness Day is on November 13th. Every year.
It's the day before my birthday.
Stop it.
I'm on the 14th. I'll have to go down and have a little party in celebration.
We're gonna have to totally like sing you happy birthday on World Kindness Week. That's like a huge thing. Right. So what we do,
I'll remember the date, basically.
Yeah, now you remember. So your birthday's November 14th. I got it. Stuck in that. So what we do is to kick off World Kindness Week, we have this worldwide Dance for Kindness event. This is going to be our 6th annual. It's all volunteer run. Last year, the event took place in 120 cities, 50 countries, all on the same exact day. And the way that it works is that people register to become a group leader. We've had group leaders from age 10 to age 76. Yes. So anybody can register to be a group leader, which basically is a cool term for like an organizer. To organize the event in their city. They go through a process, like they get a handbook of how to do it. I meet with each and every one of them individually. I'm in those meetings. I'm doing those meetings as we speak. And then once dance registration, once the group leaders are all on board, dance registration opens up. It should be opening up within the next couple of weeks. If somebody is interested in being a group leader, they could still register now. We're probably closing it at the end of this week.
Okay.
Once dance registration opens, people can come onto the website and they sign up for their city. They choose from whatever city that's on there. And when they sign up, they receive an email with the Learn the Dance page, which has the tutorial video to learn the dance steps in the privacy of their own home. The songs, because we have 2 songs. We have a flash mob song, which is the dance song, and we create it each year. We open it up to musicians to submit a song, and then we have an anthem contest. And then we have a slower, more reflective song as the freeze mob song. So what's a freeze mob? Well, before the event happens, this music comes on. It's a slower, reflective song, and everybody, imagine hundreds of people gathered or thousands, freeze in different kindness positions. Maybe somebody's hugging somebody, maybe somebody's tying someone's shoe or showing someone directions. They're frozen in different like position for 3 minutes to show people around them that if we stop within our day and open our eyes, we'd recognize the kindness opportunities that surround us. Right after the freeze mob, the flash mob song begins, and everybody around the world breaks out into the same dance, to the same song, all happening on the same exact day. So when people register, they get the video, and the group leader, their organizer, gets a notification, and we connect the two. So that the organizer organizes like a rehearsal the day of the event, several hours prior, where everybody comes together, they review the dance steps, they give them that extra ounce of motivation and encouragement of the fact that we're joining all together with people from around the world, speaking different languages, different religions, different ethnicities, different races and cultures, all coming together under the banner of kindness. Yes, we're different, but our differences are a reason to celebrate. And so on that day, just like kindness is a universal language, so too is dance. Everyone in the world is joining together to say, yes, we may be different. Yes, I may believe this and you may believe that. And I might not like what you believe, but that's okay. Because at the end of the day, we all want to live in a kind world. And it's okay that you believe what you believe and I believe what I believe. That's fine. We don't need to force our own beliefs down another person's throat. We need to accept them for who they are, even if it doesn't fit along with what we believe. It's both sides being able to be okay with somebody else living their life differently. It's okay.
Yeah.
So that's the concept of Dance for Kindness. So right now I'm still interviewing group leaders. I just had a group leader come on board today from India, from Mumbai. She's a teacher that moved around from country to country over the past several years, teaching in different locations. She's originally from Spain and she's super excited about the event. The number is continuing to grow. We had over 400 people register to be group leaders. Whether we get them all on board or not, we'll see. But that's a really big event happening in November that people can take part in. And then the other big event happening in November, a lot of happening in November.
It's an important month for lots of reasons.
Oh my goodness. It's because it's your birthday, you know. I wanted to make sure there was some celebration going on, you know what I'm saying? I'm going on a cross-country tour around the US.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool. It's a 6-week cross-country tour where I'm going to be traveling from the West Coast to the East Coast. And I'll be going in and speaking in schools, giving workshops, creating positive dialogue around kindness. It's a listening and sharing tour. So the purpose of it is to be able to create dialogue, which in my opinion is missing in this world. Real dialogue, meaning I hear you and you believe something different, and you hear me and I believe something different, and we're able to connect without getting angry at each other, actually learning how to communicate.
Yeah.
So, on the tour itself, I'm going to be doing volunteer activities in each of the cities and activating communities to give back into their own community, empowering people to give back to where they actually live. So that's happening November 1st. I'm planning to start off the tour in Vancouver, Washington. And we're going to be launching a crowdfunding campaign in another week and change. I'm hoping, if everything goes well, to raise the funds. We're trying to raise $50,000 to help the nonprofit get across the country and do this amazing interactive tour. So that's going to be a really cool way for people to get involved. And we happen to also be right now, I'm going to send you this link also. We're in the running to win a $10,000 grant through Kind Snacks. So every month they have a grant. They give $10,000 to people that are bringing kindness into the world in some way. So we're in this month. Voting closes September 30th. And the nonprofit or the organization or person that receives the most votes by the closing date receives the $10,000 grant. So that $10,000 is going to be used to help also funding for the tour, because we're going to be doing all different random acts of kindness on the tour, and also giving out educational curriculum into schools and so on and so forth. So people have the chance to vote and help us get to first place. Right now, I think we're in 6th place.
Oh, so close. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll definitely put the link for this one on the tool. Yeah, so
that could be a really great way to support and spread the word, and together hopefully we'll hit the goal. But yeah, those are some of the fun things that are coming up right now in the next couple of months.
That's incredible. You're such an inspiration. Like, hearing all the things, and from the cards to the book to the events to like everything, like I'm just basically trying to keep my head afloat, like with one thing. And so I just, it's just really incredible. And I look forward to kind of finding out more and reading the book and just following what's going on with you. And then also please let me know when you are in LA for the tour, because that's where I'm based, if you're starting on the West Coast.
I'm going to be in LA, and actually the LA part of my tour is not yet planned. So I would love to, if you know of any places or schools that would want to do workshops, I would love to chat with you about that, and we could do something cool there. That's a great idea. Let's chat about that more after the call, because I'm definitely, I've got a few suggestions. That's awesome. Wow, Orly, thank you for your time and sharing your amazing mission and just everything. Thank you so much, really. Thank you as well, because you're doing a tremendous amount of greatness. I mean, I feel it, and I feel your energy and your heart coming through this call like crazy. I mean, it's coming right through the video. So I have an opportunity to see you in person and give you like an actual big kindness hug in person
Yes.
in LA?
I will. We will. I feel like that will. That's not too far away.
Opportunity.
Yes. Cool. So just to wrap up everybody on the call, we've got 2 competitions running at the moment. One was the lovely people at Sage Goddess were giving away either a rose quartz flame or an amethyst heart, those beautiful, beautiful pieces. So I'm going to put the link to that competition. 2 people get to win one. And then the people at Protein, what's it, something Protein? Oh, this is awful. I should know this way better. Designer Protein. There we go. We're giving 5 people the chance to win $50 worth of products. So I'll put the link to that too. And then we're going to add the link to Orly's competition, try and help them get to the 10,000 grant with the kind, what are they called? Kind?
Yeah, it's kind snacks, kind causes.
Kind snacks.
Yeah,
So all you have to do is just... Yeah, all you have to do is just click and vote. So that's helping by doing nothing. So that's fantastic. And then we'll also, if you can, give us the link to the fundraiser as well to help send Orly across the states, teaching and workshops and talking about kindness and having dialogues with kids and people around the country, which is so needed. So any support you give would be much appreciated. Guys, thank you. We've got another live stream on Thursday. So I will see you then, if not before. Bye.
Bye.